Oh, right. Well, Israel, the supposed democracy in the Middle East, has killed about 200 journalists. And of course, they claim it's all by accident. They were wrong. They were at the wrong place at the wrong time, or they were Hamas. We've heard this time and time again, yet they continue to target journalists. But before we get into that, let's first look at the destruction that has gone on between the two countries. Let's take a look at Iran. So, this is the destruction of Iran, or the attacks that have happened in Iran. Not a lot of footage out of Iran. They've done a complete internet blackout from after these strikes. They do internet blackouts. They have definitely limited their press. They do not allow a free press in Iran. They do not allow an open and free internet either. So, but they never claim to be a democracy, I suppose. But they don't allow a lot of information to come out of there. Meanwhile, Israel has also attempted to censor and to limit the amount of information coming out of Israel, which we're going to get into as they target journalists. But let's go ahead and take a look at the footage from Israel, what they're looking at. They're just, Tel Aviv is being, do we have any of the destruction? Let's look at the actual buildings that have been destroyed. Yeah, look at that. So this is something that the Israelis hardly ever see. We usually, when Iran has hit them before, it's just been some kind of incinerated cars. Maybe a little wall on the side of the road has got a little hole in it. It's nothing. It's been nothing like this. This has been parts of Tel Aviv, parts of Israel are starting to look like Gaza, and they are just getting hammered by Iran. There's a question with this. One of the questions is their Iron Dome really failing? Or there is some suspicion that they maybe are allowing their Iron Dome to fail, so that United States would come to their rescue. That's kind of the thinking, is that perhaps, it's possible that their Iron Dome is being overwhelmed by Iran. They are sending ballistic missiles. They know that the ballistic missiles can get through that Iron Dome. So there is a possibility their Iron Dome is just not working. But there's also, you can't put it past them. There's also the possibility that they're letting some of these get through in order to cause the destruction, so that the United States rushes to war and does the dirty work for them. They have not had to fight a lot of these wars on their own that they've wanted to do. Iraq, United States has been doing the dirty work for them. And that's exactly what they're wanting the United States to do this time around, which we're going to get into. But let's look at Israel targeting journalists. Here is Isaac Herzog. He's the president of Israel, and he writes this. He says, last night, so he's complaining. He's saying, it's the same old story that we keep hearing, which is, they're the bad guys. They target civilians. We don't, kind of a thing. So he says, last night, Iran again unleashed a wave of missiles on Israel with one goal: to kill children asleep in their beds, grandparents, Holocaust survivors, a beautiful Muslim family in Tamra, Jews and Muslims, Israelis and Palestinians, evil, pure and deliberate. We mourn brothers and sisters torn from us. Israel is fighting to eliminate a threat. Tehran is fighting to spread one. Hatred, chaos, terror, fanaticism. This is their ideology, and the world must stand with Israel for the sake of humanity. So he's saying, they're evil. They target all of these people. And by the way, one of the things to keep in mind, why there are Muslims and Palestinians being killed, there are some Arab Israelis. They're Palestinians with Israeli citizenship. They live in Israel. They don't have bomb shelters. You should ask why. Why is that? Why is it that there is so much discrimination or there's a very distinct, there's, for whatever reason, the Palestinian Israelis, the Arab Israelis are not given the same bomb shelters as the Jewish Israelis. Something to consider. But here is, so there, Isaac Herzog talking about, we don't target these civilians. They're targeting civilians. They're awful. Which, by the way, all you have to do is look at the death count. The death toll numbers, Israel's death toll numbers, now it might be different because they are trading fire as we speak right now, but it was about 25 people today. And Iran's is looking like 400 civilians have been killed. And Israel has 25 civilians killed. So when you look at it, how could Israel possibly claim, look, they target civilians and we don't? They're the bad guys. They target civilians. The numbers just don't lie. You just can't lie about the numbers. 400 civilians killed in Iran. How did they die? Are you claiming you didn't do it? But here is them once again today. This is what they did earlier today, is they targeted the IRIB headquarters. This is the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting headquarters. This is where a lot of the news out of Iran comes from. And watch this. They bombed it while people were live on air.
صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلود استادیوم.
Yikes. Yeah. And then here's actually footage of the building after it was attacked. We do have the, let's take a look at the building. Yeah, look at this. Wow. I mean, just news. I mean, they went after a new. So they're saying, well, we target military sites. We don't target civilians. And then they say, we don't target journalists. They've been telling us this whole time, as they've killed 200 journalists. We don't target journalists. Well, what is this? You're targeting journalists. Again. Was this an accident? Again? Was it another accident? Is that what you're trying to tell us? And then he tweets out, Ben-Gvir tweets out, there are reports that dozens were killed. No, he says, sorry, even in the heart of Tehran, there's no immunity to the terror channel against Israel. We continue with all our might until victory, full force. So no immunity to the terror channel, he says. That's what they think of journalists, terror channel. And, you know, look, the Islamic Republic of Iran broadcasting, I'm sure it's propaganda, right? Just like many of the state broadcasters, propaganda, sure. But still, here you are claiming to be the democracy in the Middle East. You want us to believe this, yet you keep murdering journalists. And then you claimed it was an accident, and then you target actual news organizations. You've targeted so many of them. But no, it was an accident, and we're a democracy, and we actually care about a free press. And it's not just Iran broadcasting. They're actually targeting journalists in their own country. This is Trey Yingst. He is a chief foreign correspondent for Fox News based in Jerusalem. And look at what Batar Worldwide tweeted out. Trey Yingst has no place in Israel, giving enemy comfort, scum. What did he say? What did Trey say that made them turn against him? This journalist, this Fox News journalist, Fox News being super pro-Israel, by the way. What did Trey possibly say to make them say he's giving the enemy comfort and he's scum? Watch this.
Correspondent Trey Yingst has been up all night, is standing by with all the details. Trey, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Laura, following that Israeli attack against Iranian nuclear facilities and top IRGC leadership overnight and into today, the Iranians have responded with 3 waves of ballistic missiles. This is Israel's version of the Pentagon, the Kiryat. And the building on this compound was just hit.
Please go back, please. Go back, please.
You can understand here, it's very tense at this specific location because the Iranians are now targeting the defense establishment of Israel. And so I'm going to have my cameraman pan up here to this building just across the street from the Kiryat. And so...
Okay, so they're angry with him for, I mean, what did he do wrong? He was just reporting on the attacks and showing where the attacks happened. So that is what they're upset about. They call him scum. Here's another example of this. This is a bunch of journalists reporting from Israel. They're up there kind of with their camera crews, their press. They've got their press jackets on. They're clearly looking and reporting on the war that's going on. And the tweet that accompanied this was Channel 14 was the source of. They said Al Jazeera recorded the exact location where the missile from Iran fell in Israel and broadcast it live on air, which gave them a victory image and directly endangered the country's security. Coastal region police vehicles were deployed to conduct a search and handle the incident. So police were going after this press in Israel, wanting to arrest them. Now I get it. A lot of people will say, "Hey, look, the press when they broadcast the direct hits that happened, then the enemy can look at that and kind of recalibrate and figure out, okay, what made it through, what didn't make it through, what was hit, how precise was it, How do we recalibrate to make ourselves more precise? So people say, well, you're actually just giving the enemy, you're basically acting as a spotter for the enemy. And so there is an argument to be made there, but it's just still a showcasing of the attitude of Israelis towards the press, just in general. These scum send the police after them, blowing up press buildings, killing other journalists. I mean, it's just more showcasing of that sort of attitude of we don't want the truth to get out there. We don't want people to know what's going on here. Israel Katz, again, the president. So now they're openly targeting civilians. They say they don't do this. And he got on the earlier tweet, he gets out there and he says, they're the bad guys because they targeted all these civilians and we don't do that. And he says here, the boastful dictator from Tehran is turned into a cowardly murderer who deliberately fires at Israel's civilians in order to deter the IDF from continuing the offensive that is collapsing his capabilities. So he says, like the arrogant dictator, it depends on the translation, right? It's in Hebrew. The arrogant dictator from Tehran has become a cowardly murderer who fires targeted shots at civilians. Like, how dare he? And then he says, the residents of Tehran will pay the price and soon. So how dare you target Israeli citizens, civilians, going after your civilians now? And again, Israel has 25 deaths. Iran has about 400 civilian deaths. And they're saying that it's Iran that is the only one actually going after civilians. It's just not true. It's just more lies to get us to bait us into a war. The whole goal is to bait us into a war. The whole goal is to pull out our emotions, to get us to say, you're right, this is an evil regime. We have to go after them because they're evil. And if you believe they're evil, then you're wanting to wipe them out. If you believe they're evil, then you don't mind murdering their babies because you believe their babies are the spawn of Satan. That's what they want you to believe. All right, let's take a look at, I want to show you this also. So another thing that the Israelis say is, we've seen that they've been going after civilians, killing many civilians in Gaza, just leveling buildings filled with people. And they say, well, Hamas was inside. A Hamas leader was inside. One of the top guys was in there. It's okay to kill. In their minds, they have a collateral damage numerical number. They think it's totally fine to kill 100 civilians if you're going to get the one bad guy. They've decided that that's an okay calculation. 100 civilians for every one bad guy. In fact, the Israelis say they don't actually have a number, that it's depending on the level of the bad guy, they'll kill as many civilians as they want in order to get that one bad guy. But here's proof they don't have to do it. Here is an image. This is a precision strike in Tehran. This is when this is from the first day, from Friday, when they were first leveling their attacks. They did a number of precision attacks. This was a precision attack that targeted one of the leaders of the IRGC as he slept in bed, and that missile went right into his apartment. They didn't have to level the building. So you mean to tell me, Israel, that you're able to do this, but you've chosen during this entire time that you've been leveling Gaza to not do this? You've chosen to just level buildings and kill women and children. So you decided, you made a choice. You have proven now that you can do this, that you can precisely target a Hamas leader as they're in the building, rather than saying they hide in buildings. Of course, they hide in buildings. Where else are people supposed to go? They hide in buildings. And so we have to level the entire building. Well, you just proved you don't have to do it. You actually have precision capabilities and you choose not to. So when people accuse you of committing a genocide, this is why. Because we know you have the capability to do something different than what you're doing, and you're choosing not to because you do want to murder all the people. You want to get rid of all the people. And by the way, in Gaza yesterday, as we've all been paying attention to the war between Israel and Iran, Israel went and killed 38 people, most of them women and children, as they were waiting for aid. They were in an aid locating for food. And Israel opened fire and killed 38 people, mostly women and children, just waiting for food. That's what they did while we've been focusing on Israel and Iran. And they sit there and they say, oh, Iran targets civilians. And meanwhile, Israel killed 38 people just looking for food. This is the country that we're dealing with, and they're expecting us to have sympathy for them. And it's very, quite frankly, it's very difficult for people to have sympathy right now for Israel because they see what they've done to Gaza. They see that they started the war with Iran, that this is an offensive war on their end. They say, no, it was a preemptive strike. Was Iran actually gearing up to strike Israel? Were they pointing missiles at Israel and they knew that they were actually coming their way? What is a preemptive strike? This is a made-up term that Israel has made up over the decades to justify their continued aggression towards the countries around them. And they've done this over and over and over again, made up this term preemptive strike and got you to go along with it. And there's just no way to go along with it at this point. They started a war with Iran, and they're now wanting the United States to get involved. And according to the latest result, the latest reports, Trump is gearing up to go into war with Iran. That is the latest, is that, as of right now, breaking, President Trump saying, the U.S. military prepares for possible intervention. Secretary of Defense Hegseth has ordered preparations for American military involvement in Israel's ongoing operations against Iran. We did not vote for this. We did not want this. And yet, once again, it looks like we're going to get this. Hey guys, thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show, which you could check out Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.